Yeah, I think I have a lot of them. First is that you always have to be aware that people don't necessarily learn like you, like me. So things that worked for me are not going to work for everybody else. Drills that work for some groups are not going to work for all the groups that you coach. I think some people are going to be like, of course, but you don't realize it is very natural to coach like how you were taught and how you learned. Oh, I learned a lot when they taught me like this, and so let's see if it works. And sometimes it does. And I think that's an interesting thought about players who become coaches, right? Some people say, oh, you did it, so you know so much about it. I understand that, and I think it does help. But then at the same time, that's a super common but easy trap. You have to always be looking for ways to teach better. You have to always be looking for ways to um, deliver instruction, to give feedback, because for sure no cue works for everybody. And I think the best coaches, at least the ones I've played for and I've listened to, can do that in many different ways. And so kind of looking at that in my young coaching career is, I can have a plan to try to coach someone in some specific situation or skill. And in my head, it's so clear. Yes, we're going to get it. And then you tell them and they give you the blank look and you're like, okay, that didn't work. Time to move on, like next one. And I think not to like give praise to myself, but I had this personality where if you told me one time that you don't want me to stand here, that's all you need to tell me. And I will do it. And so realizing that our ability to process information for all the athletes that we work with is so different. So always taking that into consideration. I think another thing would be that commitment looks a little different for people. I've been around groups that, the question is, well, how come we're not all doing the same thing if we're in it? And it looks very different for people, and their understanding and the way they process what's important is so different. So that culture part is always, it always needs to be talked about or revisited. But I think it's important to not assume that we're all like, we all love volleyball 24/7 because we did. I think that's like one thing that I see a lot, and I've coached kids in high school and some college players and now some professionals. So yeah, it's always a work in progress. I think is maybe the bigger lesson.